So for this week, we don't have a lot of dramatic coding to do. We have nothing to do on interfaces. Well, all the stuff we talked about there, they're not, for whatever reason, haven't asked us to challenge us to do anything with that. They're asking us to make sure we have an abstract class. Now, some of you might have done this last time. So if you remember our classes inside of here, we have the customer class, we have the employee class, we have the guest class, we have the person class. We have the 4 classes inside of here, with the person class being abstract. If you have your class on top abstract, you're, I'll say, halfway done. I mean, it's not literally halfway done, but that's a big part of it. It's just making sure this top class is abstract. The next thing we want to make sure we have is we have an abstract method. So the last time we had the greet visitor method, and we had a base default functionality for being, for greeting a visitor. And you might have done the same thing. You might have created your top level method as being something that is common. You might have created it something that was in each one of the 3. The big things I want to make sure you see this week, now that you hopefully at this point you have your hierarchy there, you've got your classes extending out from each other, you've got your toString working, that should be a big thing as well. You got some methods going on. But the 2 things I want to have happen here, I want to make sure you have an abstract method that's being called, and that abstract method is being called abstractly. So if we go to the core of our exercise, we have all of these objects being created. In this case, I have 3. I have the customer, the guest, the employee. Again, you have different classes you've been building. But we've been calling these directly. So we had C, customer, G, guest, E, employee. Well, what we want to do here is we want to be able to treat all of these things abstractly going forward. So we want to be able to say we have person array people. And we have to define a size on this. Oops, sorry. And so we know we're going to do 3 of these for now. So we need to fill this in. Now, this isn't so bad. At this point, if we've done our inheritance hierarchy properly, we should be able to take our high level one, and let me actually take this and then we move it down here. Just put it down here like this. And I should be able to say people, oops, not dot, of 0, the first one, is equal to C. People of 1, the second one, is equal to G. And people of 2, the third one, is equal to E. Right, so that's not so bad. That's pretty straightforward right there. I mean, if this all compiles, then you've structurally done what's most important. We're not talking about dramatic logic here. We're talking about structure. We're talking about design. We're talking about concepts. So to make sure this all works, we could just simply say for person P is in people. So we can iterate through each one of these guys, and we can say system.out.println p.greet visitor. This is very similar to what we have going on down here. Oops. Sorry. I don't need system.out.println. I just p.greet visitor the way I define this. I should have done it better, and I'm going to actually fix that from what I did last time. Do it a little bit better this time. So p.greet visitor. So I just want to take baby steps there. So when I run this code, I end up with, you can see, you are my favorite, Tony. Thank you for visiting 0 times. An employee, as an employee, you are Frontlines Associate Jones. And then it gets down to everything else, everything that's happened. So that's what happened right here. These 3 got printed out. And then it goes from there. Now, by the way, let's say you're not sure what gets printed out where. The real simple way that I like to do it, system.out.println. And this will just help me mentally keep track of this. I can just put some character inside of their whole bunch. Oops. I hit Control-C. There you go. If you get Control-Shift-C, that will comment or uncomment a line. That's what I did here on accident. Just another little hint. Control-C copy, Control-V paste. And I can just put some lines inside of there. So I can see now, yeah, those are the 3 that I just printed out. It becomes very visually obvious. And then there's the other lines I had down below. So this is the core of what we want to have happen. Is you've created for week 3, you've created an abstract class, you've grouped everything through that abstract class, and you're calling what should be the abstract method here, and it's not. It should be. So let's make sure we understand what an abstract method is. Let's just go revisit that. So we go to the person class, and we say greet visitor here. Well, let's say I have a method here. Let's add a new method. Public string, we want to return something, get greeting inside of here. So we're going to ask each one to get a greeting. Now, what is the greeting going to be? Well, I don't know what the greeting is going to be. It's going to be based off of information of the type there. So I want this to be not an implementation here. I want this to be an abstract method. I want to say each of the types of there. I want visitors to greet in one way. I want customers to be greeted another way. I want employees to be greeted a third way. Okay? So now that I have this abstract method inside of here, you can see a couple of my classes no longer compile. Because if I go over to the guest class and look at this there, guest is not abstract and does not override abstract method get greeting in person. So I either have to make guest abstract or I have to provide an implementation of get greeting. So let me go off and do that. So I want to say alt insert pops that up, or right click insert code, which is the same as hitting alt insert. And now I have the option to implement a method. If I click that, it'll show me all the methods I haven't implemented yet. And poof. I have it here. Now, when I do this, you see it says throws new unsupported operation exception, not supported yet. This is a reminder to you from NetBeans to saying, hey, you never did, by the way, implement this code. We generated it for you, but you never put an implementation there. So some of you might come off and run your code, and you'll see this exception comes up. So you might do something like, hey, over here in person, nope, sorry. In this example, I don't want to greet visitor. What I really want to do is say, this is what I was trying to get at before, system.out.println p.get greeting. So you can see this abstract method can be called on any of these guys here. So that's good stuff. I don't want to do this anyway. So now if I went and ran this guy, it might not run anyway. Oh yeah, so it's going to be an issue. It can't create that guy. So let me go fix it there. Let me just forget about that conveniently for a moment. So let's do the same thing in customer class here. So we'll come down to customer class. I like to put my methods up top, so I'm going to give you a space. Alt insert. I'm going to implement the method, get greeting, hit enter again, and there you go, I've implemented it. So now all my code's compiling, and when I hit run, I get an exception, unsupported operation exception, not supported yet. It comes out of customer line 16. It's because I have not realized customer. I haven't put an implementation here. So what do I want my greeting to be for customer? Well, let me go grab the text from get greet visitor here. I'm going to just go steal it down here. So I'm going to say return. You are my favorite. So again, it doesn't matter. In your implementation, you're going to have a method inside of here to go calculate the amount of sales for that type of transaction, paper versus labor versus whatever it's going to be, those transactions inside of there. So you're going to be doing some math. You're going to be returning what your pseudocode says, from your design from before. And so you've probably already done that. So you're going to be returning that data inside of here, and then this is going to be abstract then. It's going to be realizing the abstract method. All right, so you're my favorite inside of there. So now I run it again. Oh, you're my favorite, Tony. Unsupported exception. I forgot to implement the one in guest. So guess what? I can go do the same thing in guest. And for guest, I can say return visitor from plus super dot get IP address. So we have that to be the implementation there. So I go and run this, and oh, look, so you're my favorite Tony. Visitor from second, you're my favorite Bob. So what's happening there? Well, the way I implemented it, I have my hierarchy is that customer implements get greeting. Employee extends customer, so I automatically get greeting from customer. So in employee, I don't have to provide a different behavior of this. So inheritance in some cases makes my life easier. In other cases, it means I still have to be accountable for testing, is that the proper functionality? If I want my customer greeting to be something different, and I do, I want it to match my visitor greeting, I would have to do Alt Insert here, say override method. Now notice, in this case, because it's already been implemented up above, it no longer is inherit method, it's override method. This is unique to NetBeans. In Eclipse, you'll do inherit or override, either one. But in Eclipse, I can go through and say inherit the override method there, and I can say I want to go to the person class. No, get greeting. There you go. That's the one I wanted there. Customer.get greeting, and then I can put my own implementation here. As I said, you are my nope. There you go. Well, this right here. Right there. So now when I run this, I have each of these. You're my favorite, visitor from second, and as an employee, you're our front line there. So I wanted to show you, I mean, you probably have the method in place. I'm not trying to imply you have another method inside of here. What needs to happen this week is you have all the classes you built in week 1. You have the polymorphic method you built in week 2. But now make sure, and again, you might have done this already, so you might not have anything to do. Make sure that you have a superclass that's abstract. Make sure that's abstract. Make sure you have a method that's abstract. Make sure that you have in your driver an array of objects being stored at the top level, the abstract class, and then you're calling that abstract method on each one of these guys. You can keep the other things, you can get rid of the other things. It's up to you. I'm not worried about that. But I just want to see you putting these in action, see them popping around. So again, 10-15 minutes right here. We just demoed it out. You probably have most of the code written already, so all you have to do is make sure they line out. You might be able to get this week's work done in a hurry. If you do, then dive into next week. Next week we have a bunch of logic. We have a bunch of user interface stuff we have to get sorted out. So start looking at that assignment, start diving into that stuff, practicing that stuff, because next week's will take a little bit more time. So we kind of have a little breather inside of here. Do your discussion board, do this, and then maybe get start early on week 4, which is, I'd really like you to be done with week 4 in week 4, because then week 5 is a ton of fun if you can spend some time on it. All right, so that's really all we have to do this week. That's really all we have to do for our demo this week. So let me know if there's questions. This is very conceptually challenging, not necessarily difficult code once you have the concepts down. But there's still things that can be gotchas. So share your code, ask questions if you got it.